And the first point that we usually talk about are the guest's first experiences. So Ty, if you could please share what your first experiences were with the paranormal.
For my first experiences with the paranormal.
It can
Now,
include like UFOs and all that stuff. I consider all of
I
that
got
paranormal.
I got you. Now
Yeah,
I'm gonna say something, and
sure.
it's very important I say this, people, because we have young people watching. Because I know some of my audience are here. So remember, as I'm explaining these things, don't allow these things to blow your imagination up too much to the point where when you try to go within yourself, my experience taints yours. Now, my first experience with that was I was sitting down after I had just got done going within myself. I'll say that. And I came and I sat on the bed. All right. Now, I became aware of a different dimension. And this is when I realized that there's constant dimensions around us, multiple dimensions around us all the time. So it's like my vision blurred for a second. It was like a static. Like think of when you used to change old TVs. You'll go through, it's like shh, and then you go to the next channel. It was my vision pretty much did that. And in a brief moment when it did that, I became aware to a white figure that was floating around in my room.
Whoa.
I kid you not. And my spiritual teacher, which is Pharaoh's ghost, I'm pretty sure he's in here. He remembers when I said this. I became aware to that around me, but it was real brief. What was that? So that was the first time. Second time, something similar happened again. So I went to sleep and then I woke up. And when I woke up, for about a split second, I became aware of another figure just like that. Now it was just like a white figure, like a ghost. I became aware of that again. And this was about 2 years ago. So I was still really early in my spiritual awakening. So I didn't even really know how to process this. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if I seen myself outside my body. I didn't know what it was. So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like, well, what is this? But the fact that that happened twice, and then when I spoke with him and I confirmed certain things, that let me know that I was tapping into a different reality that was around me. Now I'm going to go into something that's a little more in depth. I had a dream one night, and this was a memory, past life. So I went to sleep, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I went to sleep. I was in a ship in space. I was in a ship. Now, when I was in this ship, I do not remember seeing myself have a body. I didn't see my body. I didn't. So I was in a ship with these beings, and then they were talking. And one of them said, "Third eye activation." He said that. And it's like he pulled some type of lever on that ship. So when he pulled that lever on that ship, third eye chakra is right here.
Yeah.
I started getting bombarded with energy right here, more intense than I've ever experienced in my life. I felt it in a dream.
Full
So then
throttle.
when he did that, I woke up literally rubbing my forehead like that. I'm looking like, well, what? It was so intense, unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Because as you start working with the chakras, aligning your chakras, you start tapping into that third eye, getting your energy to hit there, which is the Kundalini energy. Go into that a little later. When you start doing that, you can become aware of energy right here. Many people say that, oh, I feel energy right here. I feel a feeling right here. It's your third eye chakra. So ever since I had that dream right there, that memory, recalled that, I've always experienced energy right here. And this area right here energetically has always been more active. So I took that as, okay, they did that to help me.
Yeah.
I recall that to help me. That's why that happened. And I spoke to my spiritual teacher, Pharaoh's ghost. He said he had a similar, if not the same exact dream, just like that. Now I'm going to
What?
say, yes, he said he's in the chat.
That's cool.
I'm like, I'm like, what you
What?
did? So I'm like, okay,
Get
this
out.
like this is real.
Yeah.
So he said that. So that right there, that just let me know that, like, man, I'm really recalling certain things. I am. I'm really bringing things back to me, and I'm really connected with things that are outside of this planet. I really am. And those were a few experiences that I had with the paranormal.
That's a really cool dream, dude. Like
Oh
what?
man, I'll never, I'll never forget it. Like, if I could, I can't put in words fully how that felt and how intense that was
Yeah.
when that energy was hitting right here. It was, it was just so intense. Like, you're feeling something when you wake up out of your dream and you start rubbing the area that it happened in. And now I can, I don't know if this classifies as paranormal, but I'm gonna speak on it.
Sure.
Um, for those that watch my videos, they'll see me sitting by a particular tree, and I'll say that's, oh, this is my favorite tree, the first tree I ever connected with. All right.
Yeah.
So this was about over a year or a year and a half ago. Okay, so I'm sitting back there, spine against the tree, just grounding, and I zoned out. Like, I completely just zoned out. Like, I was just in the moment. And in that moment, I heard a masculine voice within here that was not my own. You see, we all have that inner voice, but it
Yeah.
sounds familiar to you. This voice was not my own. I don't know if it was the tree. I don't know if it was my spiritual team connecting to me in that moment. I don't know which one it was, but it told me, and I'll never forget this. Us trees are an expression of all. That's what it told me. So I'm sitting here like this right here. I'm zoned out, and I hear that. And I wake up. I'm looking around like I'm thinking somebody's in the wood with me. Like, who just said that?
Like they're filming a documentary and someone's narrating in the
Ex-
background filming you.
exactly, exactly. So I'm like, who just said that? I'm looking around. There's nobody there. And then I realized what that was. That was something else that tapped into me because
Yes.
I was in a certain mode for receiving information. And that came to me, and I'll never forget that. Us trees are an expression of all. And around right after that time, around right after that happened, that's when I made that video. It's an old video on my channel, how to connect with trees. That's when I made that video. But those are some times that I experienced the paranormal.
Yeah. And those experiences alone can spark you enough enthusiasm to
Man,
just keep going and want to learn more. And then look where you
exactly.
are now, gaining
Exactly.
so much
Man,
knowledge and teaching a lot of people, making a
I
difference in the
had
world.
because I know we got points, but I'm gonna say this. I had no idea I was going to be in this position right here to help this many people. I had no idea because, you see, this will, when you we'll go into this a little later when you ask me about like how my awakening happened. But when I first made this channel, I was contemplating before I made it. I was like, can I really help anybody? Because I didn't see, I didn't know much, but what I was experiencing a lot in meditations and my energy. I was experiencing a lot. So I felt obligated to share those experiences. But I didn't know, I wasn't for certain if I could help anyone. I wasn't. So I had no idea. Just 2.5 years later, I would have reached over 1 million people because my channel, my YouTube channel alone, has over 1 million total channel views now. I'm pretty sure. I had no idea any of that was going to happen.
That's a huge
I didn't.
achievement.
And nothing makes me feel